is her name, and so I'll read her poem second. But first, I figured I'd start with something a little bit lighter. This is by me. It's called A Catching of Breath. In Sacramento did Matthew a simple pleasure poem decant, with words like wine flowing from the pen lofted far above Damocles looming over erotic verse, words of meadows and the touch of fern to skin supple and waiting, airy, floating over free pages, words scent of fragrance from muse and miracle of love and shared whispers even from solitude, Xanadu in pentameter oil, literative illusory omen. In Sacramento, poets bravely and simply pleasure poems repeat, unshattered by interruptive reality, words as drugged as possible, some slow, purposeful seduction on paper, a poem making love to itself, slowly stretching to a conclusion and a catching of breath.
Is that a favorite poem?
Favorite poem?
Omar Khayyam, right? Omar
I'm sorry.
It's okay, don't worry.
Yes, that's a Kubla Khan reference thingy. Now I have to get back to where I was.
But it's original.
That is mine.
But it's your
Long time
piece.
ago.
Yeah.
Okay. The second one is A Conversation Between Love and Death. So bear with me, this is a little bit longer. Jennifer Helene Walker wrote this in 2007, and she expanded it 2 years ago into a full-length novel, which I'll be publishing, called The Maker and the Monarch. It's kind of a fantasy, so for Amazon, and whenever I get literary executorship. A Conversation Between Love and Death. At the edges of time in a far distant land where daylight and dark meet with sun, seaside and sand, at the top of a cliffside hidden from sight, the lair of death lies shrouded in night. Lord Death was old when mankind was new. All life that there is passes under his view. Whatever will be, whatever has been, there's nothing, not one thing that death hasn't seen. That is, until one day, to death's great surprise, a sight never seen chanced to enter his eyes. For all in the long years that death dwelt in his hall, never had lady love paid him a call. Until now, to describe love as strange, that is easy to say. Love goes about things in her own unique way, and though she looks like many young ladies do, to say she's like anything else rings untrue. For those who have looked into lady love's eyes have said that they glitter like stars in the skies. The color of amber, they glow golden light that pierces the gloom of the darkest of nights. But no matter how brightly love's golden eyes shine, she could not hide the sadness that lingered behind. She said to Lord Death, I arrive without warning in the lands that have never been touched in the morning. I hope you'll forgive me this brazen intrusion and my rudely invading your private seclusion. Death gave a bow and he offered his hand and said, I welcome your light in the shadowy lands. I'm honored that you've come to visit me here. Truly a pleasure having lady love near. Into the expanse of his hall, love was led through the elegant home of Lord of the Dead, and through the parlor, then out the back door to a breathtaking garden overlooking the shore. Love looked around and was truly enchanted by the seaside oasis that Lord Death had planted, and all of the beauty surrounding the place caused the briefest of smiles to dance on Love's face. Death bade her to linger and rest for a bit as he pulled out a chair and then asked her to sit. He watched her a moment and was truly amazed by the sadness that dimmed the light held in Love's gaze. My dear lady, Love, what all can death do to uplift this terrible sorrow from you? Tell me, what has your sweetheart in such pain, and how can I help him to smile again? Death, you are older than even the world, and before you the tableau of time is unfurled. Whatever will be, whatever has been, there's nothing, not one thing that you haven't seen. I am looking for something. Where it is, I don't know, but hope you can tell me where it is I should go, for I've searched all the world from far out to wide to seek out the places where fairy tales hide. Please tell me, Lord Death, where are creatures that play and pass time conversing the hours away, and myths that took place on the outside of the books and the mysteries that dwelled in each cranny and nook? Where have they gone, the gods and wizards, the pixies and nixies and fire-breath lizards, and also the maidens who swooned at the sight of their princes returning back home from the fight? Where are now the worlds where giants would roam, the ancient lands witches and kings made their home? Avalon, Tir Ninog, where did they go? Death, can you tell me? I'm sure you must know. Death says, my lady, it pains me to say the creatures of myth have all gone on their way. For you see, lady love, these things could not stay in an everyday world that forgot how to play. When the world became busied with sorrows and wars, Herne and the mist hounds stopped hunting the moors, and the legends and heroes and creatures of lore left for friendlier worlds through a magical door. Where is this door, Death, and is there a key? For if you have one, perhaps you would lend it to me, for I'd so like to live in the lands of the Fae among beings who still like to laugh and to play. Here they pursue only fortune and fame, and when things don't go right, someone else is to blame. They never seem happy or to like who they are, and they've stopped making wishes at wells and on stars. They don't know themselves, let alone one another, and cause so much suffering and hurt to each other. The world is filled up with such great misery that so few of them still even recognize me. I have to confess that I feel out of place and lonely among all the vast human race, and so perhaps I should live where the other myths go to find someone to play all the games that I know. Death listened closely to all that was said, then stood up in silence, started shaking his head. The thought that had struck Brom brought a tear to his eye. His dear lady love had wanted to die. The thought of love lost, Death couldn't abide. It felt like a dagger thrust into his side. The problem he knew was colossal in scope. The world as it was had drained love of all hope. Death understood all the folly of man and their fear of a world that they don't understand, but he knew without doubt that love passed between them was the only thing left in their world that redeemed them. Her loss would be tragic, a dear price to pay. Perhaps he could give her a reason to stay. Death looked to love, her gaze cast it down, so he took to his knee as he sank to the ground. He lifted her chin, his eyes locked to her, and he spoke to love the following words: sweet lady, this world need not be left behind, to seek all the magic you're wishing to find, for the door to the worlds of the lost legend kind exists nowhere else but inside of the mind. Hear me, my lady, I earnestly pray that you give full attention to all that I say, for I do have the key. I can show you the way to open the doors to the worlds where they play. The way you may pass through this mythical portal is to be something far beyond anything mortal, and enjoy the adventure and freedom and glory of being more than a person and becoming a story. For a story knows not its own wrongness or rightness, nor gives thought to things like its darkness or lightness. A story cares not for the way it unfolds. A story just asks for a chance to be told. Love thought for a moment as if she would speak, but she then leaned in and planted a kiss on Death's cheek. Whatever the thought, he never did know, but he saw that she smiled as she got up to go. For a long time, Death wondered, after love went her way, if she'd heard everything he was trying to say, that love was a magic unique in a world that desperately needed that dear little girl. Whatever her feelings, they never did show, and he never did ask, though he wanted to know. Her thoughts as she left were to anyone's guessing, but to see love leave smiling, Death thought that blessing. One day, in his garden, Death sat in the shade and pondered the world that humanity made, where Lady Love must ask the dread Lord of Strife to teach her the secrets of meaning and life. When off in the distance arose a great sound that grew as a shadow passed over the ground, Death looked up and smiled and laughed when he spied Love on a dragon racing off through the sky. Wow.